Well, hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplaceddraws.com, where music comes to life. And my guest today has truly been one of my musical heroes since I was a kid, and I'm honored to have him back on the site. His band Toto is about to release a live record and video of their triumphant return called With a Little Help from My Friends. The performance originally aired as a live stream back in November, and we spoke then as the band was getting ready to do it. Now it's going to be released on audio and video on June 25th. And here to talk about it once more is the one and only Steve Lukather. Welcome back, Steve.
Hey, how's it going? Nice intro there, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks. And again, we spoke a few weeks prior to the live stream. You were pretty excited about the new lineup and the energy that they brought.
Yeah.
The performance was amazing. Did it meet your expectations?
I surpassed, actually. I was the most nervous one up there going, is everything going to be okay? And it kind of affected my playing. I was like, all right, I got to play too. But the point was to showcase the new cats and see if it would work. I mean, I had 10 days to get the guys together from scratch. Now, some of the guys from the old band were there and they knew their stuff. But, you know, integrating a new rhythm section and a new keyboard player that does all the vocals, we had to do, go over all the vocals. And it was quite a task to do in a short period of time. And it was an overwhelming reaction. It did really, really well. And we, by popular demand, everybody wanted to, it's going to buy us some time until we can tour in 2022, which is in the works right now. So everybody get, there's also comes a companion DVD with David Page, myself, and Joseph talking about the whole why we're doing this and how this is morphed into this, and because it really wasn't going to happen. And then Joe and I made records and we were going to tour together, and it came up, we dealt with the legal aspect of it, and, we have to give up percentages to people that aren't on the road, but that's the price of doing business. You know what I mean? So we had to take the whole thing and scale it down in order for Joe and I to make any money, and David can't tour, but he's still very much in the band. He's still the leader. We used to talk every day at like 6 or 7 in the morning. It's pretty fun. We used to go to bed at that time. I always refer to him, and how he feels. And, what do you think, Dave? And he comes to rehearsals and musical directs the band. It's actually very interesting because he can listen to it from a point of view that he's never been able to. And it really helped tighten the band up. And you never know when he's going to show up. I mean, in LA, she'll definitely show up. And, if he's feeling good, he's got to be very careful how he travels, how far he travels because of a medical thing. I mean, he's just not in it anymore. And the rest of us really want to play. So, we're going to give it a go and see how it goes.
Yeah, and it's funny, you mentioned that companion DVD. I watched that documentary as well, and it was really interesting watching David's reaction as he was standing in front of you guys sort of directing the band. And it almost seems like he gets just as much joy of watching you and Joe and the new guys up there as he did when he was up there playing.
Well, he's still got his ears, man, and they're very big, and he really has a great, this voicing he did, it's like this, So it was very helpful, because, he wrote some of our biggest songs, so all of our biggest songs actually. But so we're going to put David Page Presents on the top of all the posters, cool everybody out. You know what I mean? Things change in life, and you have a right to change your mind. This downtime we've had has really made one relook at life and what's important, opportunities that you've had and ones you don't want to throw away. You know what I mean? At this point, after 45 years, being in this business, 44 with Toto, it just made sense. We want to play our music, We're the only ones left to do it.
And the set list you guys picked was fantastic. A lot of deep cuts, plus, of course, the usual hits. Is that going to sort of be the core of the tour going forward with other things built around it?
We picked Toto songs because that's what we figured people were going to judge the band on. Can they play this stuff? Now, there's always the purists that are going to say Toto was over when Jeff died, and they may be right. It changed. There's no question about it. And then it changed again, like 15 times. And I've been the only guy there the whole time, And the last version got a little tense and weird, and, it hit the wall. And there were some great cats, and there were some not great. I'm not going to get into it. I don't want to do that, It had become this every night. Man, life is too short to be bummed out every night.
Right.
You know? So Joe and I and the promoters and the agents said, use it, David. Like, you've got to do this. You know, try to make our money back that we lost on the lawsuit. You know? And that's the, you know, and just getting out there and playing again. You know, I'm not going to get in the back of a van and do this again. You know, I mean, you know, I've spent enough time on the road. You know, the reaction has been like, guys, go. We know what it is. You know, we did what we're hearing. And, you know, every time we made changes in the band, there was always the same pushback. Oh, it's not Toto anymore.
Exactly.
You know, and like I said, they may be right, but we made it. In the end, we you know, changed people's minds, you know, and I want to keep doing this, you know. I mean, there's tribute bands. Why shouldn't we do
it? And, you know, we talked about all the changes in the bands and things like that. Was it a little strange for you, though, on stage playing Toto without a Porcaro in the band?
I've done this many times. Steve was out of the band for 25 years. Paige would, you know, had some medical issues. His sister was dying. You know, we had some replacements for him. Mike, after he got ALS, had 3-4 replacements. You know, and with drummers, we've had 4 or 5. You know, I mean, you know, so it changes. Yep. You know, but you know, Joe's voice, my guitar, and the songs, you know, played by great musicians, give it the sound. You know, it sounds a little different. I mean, it's always sounded different. The last band sounded different than the first band. I mean, you know, but people grew to like it. I'm hoping people grow to like this. I think they will. I mean, give me a month with these guys, and it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's funny. Over the years, you know, you mentioned all the different people have come in and out. You guys have always had multiple vocalists and keyboardists. Yeah. But you've always had one guitar player. Have you ever thought about bringing in a second guitar player with you?
Well, we had Tony Spinner for a minute, and he played second guitar. I mean, what I do is I take the parts of the record and I kind of arrange them as one part on the guitar. And I just do the key stuff, you know. You can't do 20 overdubs on stage. We had a lot of fun in the studios back then. Yeah. Let's quadruple everything. Yeah. You know, no, man, I think I feel good about moving forward. You know, I know it's different, but you know, life goes on. You know, a lot of things in my life that I thought would last forever didn't. You know, and that makes me sad. I mean, you know, it's hard. It's hard to carry on. It's like, you know, it's like being divorced from people after 45 years. You know what I mean? And there's so much history. It's hard to get past. And some people have really bad feelings, and that makes it hard. That's all I want to say about that.
Getting back to the actual performance itself, I mean, it was the first time you guys, you know, played not only since the end of the last tour, but then with the pandemic, you couldn't do anything. Right. Was it weird getting up there and playing this high energy, great set, but not getting the feedback from the crowd as you were doing it?
Well, you know, we wanted to prove it, so we dug in, but you know, it is weird to play. It was like doing a dress rehearsal. You know, we had family and crew, and you're like 10 people in the back. We started cracking up. You know, we had to edit out some of my wise guy remarks because it pissed people off. But you know, I always happen to do that. I don't know why. I gotta shut up.
And you know, the live record's not the only new thing you have out. You mentioned the records that you and Joe both did.
Yeah, really excited about those. They've done real well. Mine got like 2 million streams. I mean, that sounds great, but I make $40. You know what I mean? But you know, it's done really well in terms of being received and great reviews for me, and that gives me a chance selling. You know, it's doing good. That's what you hope for in this day and age, and it's a vehicle to get people into like us being able to do the Toto hits that everyone wants to hear, some really deep cuts, different ones than we did last time, and a couple of solo things from Joe and me, spice up the set a little bit, freshen it up. And that makes sense to me. You know, Joe and I are working on something new with David's doing a little EP. So,
oh, nice.
Got some cool shit here. So, you know, it's nice to see him getting back in the studio and doing it. So he's feeling better, and that makes us all feel great. Yeah. So we're all going to help out there a little bit, you know, because that's what we got to do. He helped me. I got to help him.
Exactly. You know? Yeah, and it's cool. Like your record is, you know, this raw, you know, one take hit of rock and roll, and Joe's is more of a lush produced affair.
Yes, and that was the intention that he gave it out for. I mean, I can't speak for him, but I think his album is so brilliant, man. It's so layered in such ways and such detail put to it. And mine is just like, come on, here's the chart. Let's do this. Live solos and everything. I'll overdub the vocal, and that's it. No fixes. unless you really shit the bed, you know, and everybody really nailed it. You know, I think so. It was really great fun to make a record. I figured that's the only thing new I could bring to the party is do something that nobody else is doing, which is playing live in the studio, and that's it. Making a record like from 1971 or two and doing it in 2020. I had a blast. Definitely a vanity record for me, man. You know, I wasn't trying to write the next hit single or nothing like that. I just wanted to make some new music with some friends and make myself keep everything. So I came to it playing wise from a completely different angle. You know, I mean, like, oh God, I gotta play some shit here. I'm gonna, you know, break my own rules. You know, so I didn't, and I was real proud of myself for that. And consequently, my playing was, you know, I just played. I didn't think.
Yeah.
I didn't think I could do this again, or I could, you know, I got 100 chances to fix this in Melodyne or something like that. I didn't. There's no Melodyne on the record, just some nice delay, a big fat delay on the voice. You know?
And so could we assume that if there were to be a new Toto record, it'd be kind of somewhere in between what you and Joe did, kind of like a combination of both?
There's not going to be another Toto record, man.
So just a live entity now?
Yeah, I mean, what we do is we continue doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, Joe and I can make records and have some of the cats on it, and we can go out and play as Toto.
Yep. That works.
We get the audience. We pay off the people that suit us, and we go forward. And just, you know, I'm going to dig in. I don't roll over easily.
Nope.
I've taken a lot of punches over the last 45 plus years, whatever the hell it is. It's a long time. You know, it started out, you know. So I don't, you know, I can take a punch, man, and I've taken a whole lot of them on falsities. But that's okay. It's behind me now. I let it all go. Peace and love to everybody. I can carry around any hate. I'm like, okay, like, you know, life changes. I'm sorry. Broke my heart too, you know. But you know, like getting over a divorce, you got to get back on the horse again and do it. And that's what we plan on doing. And there's no malicious vibe or I'm going to get even with anybody or nothing like that. It's just such a waste of time. I'm 63 years old, man. I don't want to play kiddie games anymore.
Yeah, and one of the guests on your record is your friend and sometimes boss, Ringo. You know, going forward,
I love him so much.
Yeah.
Last time, Joe and I just wrote a song for his new EP, and then we wrote another one that's for the EP that's coming out in October, and that was thrilling.
Oh, nice.
It came out great, but the song was actually written for Ringo's 80th birthday, because we couldn't have a party for him because of the pandemic shit. Yeah. And so everybody was going to make a video or a DVD, you know, hey, we're saying a wish or playing a song or something like that. So David Page, Joe, and I wrote a song for him. And he dug it and he wanted to play on it. So we started playing on it. And then Joseph came to my house with an iPhone and we goofed off in my backyard making fun of being old rock stars, you know.
And now when everything ends and, you know, Toto gets on the road, will you be going back on the road with Ringo at some point? Or is that just kind of
it's like I've been doing. I mean, you know, we're putting the Toto dates together first, and then the Ringo things fell right in. I'm going to, you know, do something with him, hopefully, if all goes well. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this. Let's just say I'm going to be touring with him next year. I don't have the right to make any announcements. He's a dear brother of mine, and I see him a lot. But you know, no, he just loves to create, man. This guy is the greatest inspiration for getting older, man. I mean, he's going to be 81, and he's still running on a treadmill like this, you know, with that level. He's just incredible, and plus, I just love him to death. He's the most wonderful, interesting, enlightening human being I've ever met. Yeah, and he's fucking Ringo. You know what I mean? How about that?
That's the bottom line.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, the FaceTime, it's Ringo. It's like, it never gets old, you know?
Well, I was lucky enough to be there a few years back when Ringo was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he and Paul played, and it's just one of those things you just never forget. I mean, it's a Beatle. You know?
The reaction is different than if you meet anybody else. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I've been with him now for 9 years, and you know, at first, and I worked with Paul and I worked with George. We were friends and stuff, and it's still like you get in the room and you know you're in the room with greatness, but they're the nicest people you ever want to meet ever. That's all I can tell you, man. You think they would have the right to be the biggest assholes? So far from it. No, I mean, it's just that's how to be. That's all. There's a great deal to be learned from how those guys. Besides their musical genius, that's the way they handled their life in public like this for 60 years.
Yeah, and for those who haven't checked it out yet, you had a book out a few years ago called The
Mm.
Gospel of Luke, which was just a fantastic read. But the one thing in that book that just amazed me is the very end, which was about 30 pages of your discography. It was like a list of everything you've played on, every session you
It's
did.
got most of it on there, but I mean, I don't know. That was like, I don't really do sessions anymore.
Yeah.
That's about 25 years ago. I do a guest spot on somebody's
Hmm.
record, or a friend of mine or something. Somebody wants to pay me a stupid amount of money or something. But those calls don't really call me anymore, because
Yeah.
it's not really, I'm leaving room for the guys that they were doing it.
Hmm.
I started out, it was Carlton, Graydon, Rittenauer, and all these guys, Ray Parker, and everybody. The deal was you go for about 10 years or so, and then it's time to move up to be a producer or artist or whatever, and leave room for the next group of guys. Because with being a steam musician, especially on records, they want different flavors.
Hmm.
At one time, I was real popular, and that was really some of the greatest times of my life.
Yeah.
But I realized I started to get hit a wall going like, oh, this is just becoming I wasn't as inspired as I was when I started out, and I
Hmm.
thought it would be better for me to get out and turn into like the bitter old guy. I always had so much respect for getting the chance to have that job
Hmm.
that I wanted to respect it and also make room for some of the up and coming guys, and they were there.
Hmm.
So, and I was moving on to be a solo artist outside of
Yeah.
Toto, so I was working double duty, and I had plenty to do.
Hmm. Do you ever hear something that comes on the radio and recognize you're playing and just completely forgot that you were
Yeah,
involved in it because you've done so much?
yeah. Usually at the mall with my kids. I just crack up to myself, and nobody knows. I'm just going, oh, I can't believe that's right. I forgot about that one. And yeah, I mean, how can I not laugh at myself? I mean, being a South Park character, a Family Guy, that made my life. I mean, people make fun of us all they want, but we got almost 3 billion streams and 40 million
Exactly.
records going. And we've maintained a long career, and we're going back on headlining festivals and arenas once we go out doing theaters in the United States and Canada, and then we'll go back to arenas over there in Japan and Asia and all that stuff over there, and work it back up again. We get to take over where we left.
And the European dates you guys just announced a few weeks ago have been moved officially into 2022.
2020, and then there's some more dates to be added, but
Yeah.
we could some people want to hold it. If there's something missing, like there's a block of 4 days missing, it's getting filled.
Yeah.
And
So do you have any idea just, in terms of beginning or end of next year when you'll be hitting the US? It'll be before or after the European?
It might be March.
Okay.
March 22, and then again in the fall.
Yeah.
And Ringo may go out too, so we'll move it around that. And then 23 is going to be full on as long as everybody's healthy.
Nice.
Yeah,
and you mentioned your kids, and you and I talked about this for a brief minute before the interview, but a little while back I interviewed your son Trev and his band Levara, and just I think that record's the future of rock. I mean, that's where things are going. I mean,
well, you think, but we'll see how it goes. There's been some interesting rumbles in that camp lately. Like going, oh man, you guys already. Anyway, that's all I can say on that subject.
Yeah,
it's a great record, and he makes really interesting production. He's producing records right now, like for major labels and stuff. He's become quite an engineer and producer, arranger, man, and that's going to really serve him well in a long career.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you get a hit record, and it's like the only thing worse than getting a hit record is following it up and then sustaining the career forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You have one record, that's not a career.
So we've been spending some time here with just the amazing Steve Lukather, the new live Toto with a little help from my friends. It's coming out on audio and video on June 25th. The solo record, I Found the Sun Again, came out this past February. It's an amazing record. Highly recommend it. It's a fun listen, which is exactly what we need right now.
Well, I wasn't trying to, cure cancer. I wish I could do that, but I just had fun. 8 days. It took 8 days to do that. Done. Mixed it after that.
Yeah, and you mentioned the song that'll be on the upcoming Ringo EP a little later this year. Anything else you have going on, or is that taking over?
Let me see. I played on a cool record for Mark Lettieri, the guitar player in Snarky Puppy.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me to do a solo on a record, and that just came out, and that's getting some looks, and that's fun. And playing with those guys are like the best, man. They're like the hottest new young cats. I'm so in awe of all of them. They're the nicest guys ever.
Mm-hmm.
We did a show with them in Finland on our last tour, the Finland Jazz Festival or something like that.
Nice.
And although jazz festivals have rock and roll in it now, it's just music. It's a music festival.
Yeah, exactly.
But love to do it all, and I can't wait, man. It's been nice to be home and find myself. But I found out that I hate retirement. Hey, I'm not ready. I'm not ready, man. I'm still feel like I'm 25 years and all inside. You know what I mean? I mean, the meat suit is taking a beating, but I should look a lot worse considering. But I've been a good boy for almost 12 years now, so
that's the one good thing about the pandemic is it makes every musician realize how much they love being on the road and wanting to get back out.
That's our main source of income at this point. Records used to be, and then touring was to sell the record. Now it's records to sell the tour. We had to move with the times, man. Our first album came out on 8-track. All my friends are dying. It's time to do something.
Yeah. Just get out there and play.
When your brothers start falling, I'm getting like 1 or 2 a week now, and then legendary old dear friends of mine, and you just go, wow. There's a reality that the end is real. Yeah, you got to make the most of it. So I'm not going to sit in my house, with my lower lip hanging and my thumb up my ass. I'm going to get on the road. That's what we do.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the music you've made over the past 45 years will
44 with Toto. I've been doing it in the biz for real for 45 years.
Will live on far past all of us. That's for sure. I mean that's no one else comes close to the volume, the quality, and everything else.
Listen, we got into a role where we were all working on everything. It was just a wonderful time. I know for all of us, but I can really speak for myself how much I learned working with all the legends and amazing offers to quit the band and go on the road with unbelievable legends that I had to say no to because I believed in the band. I wouldn't do it.
Is there one session that you look back on now and you're like, God, I wish I said yes to that?
No, I said yes to pretty much all of the great sessions. There were some live gigs that I got offered that were like, that would have been fun. Miles Davis, Elton John, Joni Mitchell, Bob Seger. Some pretty cool people asked me to go out and play some pretty cool music, and it just wasn't in the cards. I was honored to work on their records, but I thought it would be a wonderful experience to see how they do that on the road. But the fact that I was asked was enough. I was deeply touched by it.
Well, again, the live record and videos called With a Little Help from My Friends. It's out everywhere on June 25th. Steve, I don't even know what to say. I can't thank you enough for taking some time to be on here and chatting with me. And
thank you. And hope to see you out there, brother.
We will definitely catch you on the road when you hit the East Coast over here.
Okay, pal. Thank you.
You got it. Thanks, Steve. Bye.
Bye.